Welcome back to the Talk Spicy to Me podcast, and I'm Brianna,
I'm Heather.
Jasmine.
and we have a special guest with us today for this episode, and we have CR Jane.
Yay!
So we are, for our theme for March, it is Kiss Me, I'm Mafia, and actually 2 out of the 3 of us got the chance to read Ruining Dahlia, which is CR Jane's newest release, and it does have Mafia verse Harem in it. Jasmine has not read it yet, but we have been twisting her arm, and she will read it soon.
Yes.
Audio is more her jam. Audio is her jam.
That's true.
So
I'm looking for narrators right now.
Ooh.
It's the male ones
That makes
are
me
super
very
hard,
excited.
But I saw like a little bit on Instagram from this one guy, so I'm determined to track him down and see if he's the one.
Ooh.
Oh,
Exciting. I'm glad that we got the inside scoop.
we had met a few of the narrators when we all went to the signing in Philly, and literally I was just like in awe. It was like meeting actors, and I was like, you could read me your grocery list and I would be okay. Like just speak to me. I don't even have to. We don't have to go out to dinner. Just talk to me.
That's right.
So picking narrators is exciting.
Yes.
But we're just going to get into it. We have a couple questions for you. So, first thing, just tell us about yourself and your books.
All right. CR Jane. I'm from Texas. I live in Utah now. I think I've been writing since, I think it's been over 4 years now. It might be 5 years in March. I kind of should look at that, I guess.
Nice.
Maybe 4 years in March. I started off paranormal, and then I write most of my own books as contemporary. And then I have a bunch of co-writes that I've done, and that's a mix of contemporary and paranormal. But yeah, I write both. I guess some people use pen names for different ones, but no one seems to care that it goes back and forth. Because it's pretty clear if you see a werewolf on the cover, it's paranormal as opposed to like a sexy man chest. So
I bounce back and forth between the paranormal world and I'll call it a real world because it's real to me. But I am actually, you were a new to me author before I read Ruining Dahlia, so I am all about jumping into some of your paranormal books.
Yeah, that would be exciting. I mean, it's interesting. My very first series, this kind of goes into one of your questions, so I don't know if you want me to answer this yet. So my very first series was the Faded Wings series, right? And that first book, it just like went viral. It was top 100. The second book went to like number 43 in Amazon, and it stayed like around top 100 for literally months. But it's so funny to look back now because my writing has changed so much from that first book. And that book series is actually 7 books long. And so I think the last one I wrote was, it's been almost 2 years, but I'm finishing up this summer with 2 more. So it's just funny though, because you can see through that series, like this progression. So for all my readers, like they seem to like it, but it's like much more simplistic than who I am like now in my writing, right? So I don't feel like if you read Ruining Dahlia and then you read First Impressions, like I don't know that it sounds exactly like the same person, so just keep that in mind. But
that is okay. That is okay. One of my best friends who is actually an author, I've known her since before she was an author, and she gave me her book, her very first book, before she even like got it into feelers or out into like the world. Her writing has changed dramatically, so I definitely understand like the progression and the growth. And it's exciting.
Yeah.
But
it is. It's really exciting to see. I'm excited to read like all of your books.
Yes.
Especially the paranormal. I think, was it Mila Young? Is that who you co-written with?
Yeah.
I've had that on my Kindle, and like I just connected the dots. I was like, oh my god, this is CR Jane.
Yeah, with her I would start in that. I have a lot of books that I co-write with her, but I'd start with Wild Moon series with that one.
I'm taking notes.
But I would recommend, like, overall, if you're reading the next book after Ruining Dahlia, I'd go to Heartbreak Prince. It's not RH, but I consider that, like, my, like, second best work of art.
Nice.
And it was really popular, and it's pretty great. I actually have an agent that's, like, talking to people in Hollywood about that series. So
nice. That is next.
Read it.
It is next. Okay, so how did this Mafia Wars world come about? And what was your inspo for Ruining Dahlia? Like, did all of the authors come together and say, you know, let's pick names? How did this grow?
So it was Loxley Savage that came up with the premise. And then she's really close to Katie Knight, or I guess you guys call her K.A. Knight, and Ivy Fox. And then Ivy and I had just finished our duet, the Breathe Me duet. This was like a couple of months afterward, because we've been talking about this, I think, for over a year. And so Ivy was like, do you want in? And I was like, yes, I've been wanting to write Mafia, so this is awesome. And I love everyone in the shared world. Like, they are seriously so amazing. So, yeah.
I didn't even know that it was a shared world. I am on K.A. Knight's ARC team. Okay. So when her book was like, they were saying, oh, this is coming out. And I'm like, what a cool premise. Like, I loved the blurb. And then, like, I saw all the other covers and I was like, wait a minute, what? They're all connected. So then when I got the chance to read Ruining Dahlia, because hers hasn't come out yet, and I was like, oh, like, I need to read all of them now. Like, it was so exciting. So in Ruining Dahlia, the three guys definitely don't have a traditional RH relationship as far as, like, physically sharing or getting along in one relationship in that kind of way. In your head, do these characters grow together more?
So I have basically committed to writing an extended epilogue because,
yes!
And not necessarily an epilogue, it would kind of start basically when the big reveal happens in the rooftop scene, because I don't want to give away spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
There on, you know, there's a lot more that could be said about, like, the months of recovery for those characters before they get to the epilogue that's in the book, right? So I think I will do an extended cut and, like, add in more to that, because it's already 567 pages, so it's my longest.
Oh my God, was it really?
Yeah, it's my longest book, so it's like, well, it's already 567 pages, but then,
they literally devoured.
I finished that book in 8 hours.
I was talking to Suzanne and Suzanne, and theirs is like 100,000 more words than, like, mine and Kay Knight's and Loxley's are. So it was like, okay, well, I can add more. It's just not right this second.
Yeah. Wow. And it's so hard thinking about, like, an ebook. You don't know, like, the page count.
Right.
So, or, I mean, not in a traditional, like, flip the pages sense.
Yeah.
So I just kept flying through it. And I was just like, oh, well, I got this. All right.
Yeah. Like, I saw your reel on Instagram. That line that got me was where she found out that she slept with her future brother-in-law, and I was just like, I need to read this. So a friend and we started it, and I did not get any sleep, so thank you.
I had a lot of, like, 3 weeks before the release of Ruining Dahlia, I got this TikTok using that line that I think it's almost at 1 million views. It's on, like, one of my secret TikTok accounts, not my name one. But that, like, really started to build, like, people got really excited about that. So yeah, I love using TikTok and Reels.
Well, Bree told us in a text message that she didn't sleep because she was up all night reading this book, and immediately Jasmine and I were like, added, done. Then that day, that's when I started it. I started it when I got home from work, and I was done with it, but in the middle of work the next day, and I was like, this was so good.
Oh, that means so much, because I feel like I literally put my soul into this, right? And it is, I guess one of your other questions was kind of like, what's my darkest book? What's my spiciest? This is my darkest. Like, the subjects that I cover are very heavy, like, when you're writing them, you know, and you're trying to be so, like, delicate and realistic for how, like, you would feel in those situations. And so, man, it took a lot out of me.
It was definitely good, and honestly, I want to travel internationally to test out those pod things, because, you know, I got to that point and I was just like, oh, honey, let's travel internationally. Where are we going?
I think it's like Singapore Airlines that I was basing it on. I don't know that normally you'd have pods in the UK to New York route because it's 8 hours, but in the Singapore ones you have like full rooms. So I'm like, all right, we're gonna go with it.
Wow.
Because I don't want to do the bathroom because that just seems really
that's skeevy. That's skeevy.
Yeah.
But I definitely Googled it. As soon as I finished that scene, I Googled. I was like, okay, what do these things look like? And how is this possible? Because I'm down.
This scene, it sounded like more money than I have, but I was still so curious.
Facts.
Apparently you can use credit card points for some of those, so that's on my bucket list.
Swipe.
Writing that down.
Yeah.
Swipe. Charge everything. Charge everything.
Yeah.
Right.
But back to your question about, like, if they grow together, I don't think I'd write the typical RH. Like, it's very important to me the individual relationships within reverse harem. So, I think this is the only one I've done where they're brothers. But usually, like, there's just this angst going on, right? And, like, they're battling, like, I want this girl for myself, but, like, maybe, they love their friends or they love their family, and it's like, how do you reconcile that? So I have like a Christmas contemporary standalone with Mila, and that one there's definitely like traditional sharing. That one's a notch though, but yeah, I don't have a lot of the like sharing in Ruining Dahlia was like really one of my like biggest scenes with that, honestly. And I saw a lot in the reviews. They're like, it's not really that much sharing. I'm like, well, that's a lot for me, okay?
Oh. We do a lot of RH. That's kind of where like the three of us have bonded. We have all read so many RH stories, and they're all very different. Yeah. And this one definitely is at the top of my like where your most unique RH is, because there was so much development in their individual relationships, and it wasn't like a, hey, we're going to grow together. It was, no, we're going to grow together, and what you grow over there is that's your own tree. That's like, right. This is our bush.
Yeah. It's more like, I love you so much that even though I think you're my soulmate, I will share you to make you happy. It's kind of what I usually go into reverse harems writing like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and it worked. The way that the whole story developed that way, it was perfect for those characters.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I think, Jazz, like you said, like I really liked that there was the mafia trope in there because
that was different. That's what made me like do a double take. I was like, wait a minute, it's RH and it's mafia? Like I was just like, okay,
there's not a lot of them. I think
I don't think there's any. This might be the only one that I have ever.
Yeah,
I think. My friend had said going in, she was like, it kind of sounds like an oxymoron, like mafia RH, like, the mafia should be the one that wants to be controlling and dominating and not share with anyone, but then you have the RH, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm so curious of how it's going to work, and I was like, I can see this now, I can see this.
Sorry if you heard the warping. My kids are like trying to get down here, and my husband's trying to corral them.
No worries.
Fine.
Oh.
What do you like in your mafia books, as far as like when you're reading and when you're writing them?
I love I don't know if you guys are in the Facebook group. It's like Jealous Possessive. Like that's the books that are in it. And I love like I know that's like weird, like reverse harem, jealous possessive, but I like still I love when I get that. I mean, I tried to put in all of my favorite things into this book. Like you have 3 different guys. I love the psychos. Love
yes.
Them, right? I like the troubled like bad boy that just
the damaged ones.
Layer. And then I have one character that is like my ooey gooey golden retriever book boyfriend that you can depend on and can love forever. And I like specifically wrote him like I want him to be the perfect like man, like
the cinnamon roll.
Yes, like
I love all of them.
He was an elephant cinnamon roll.
Yes.
No, I had to explain that to my husband because Bree and I were doing voice memos back and forth, and he happened to be sitting next to me as I was talking about this. He did a double take and looked at me, and he was like, "What did you say?" I was like, "You don't need to know about any of this. Just hush now."
Yeah,
Like,
my husband will sometimes, he'll come across one of my reels on Facebook or Instagram, and he'll be like, "So, what's in your brain? Like, where do you get these ideas from?"
what are you thinking? Well, now, honey.
Like, just go with it. Just go
Yes,
with it.
exactly.
It's good. It works.
Yes.
Do you have any mafia romance recommendations?
So I love With Us by Layla Frost. That might have been one of my first mafia books that I ever read. It's not, it gets a little bit dark later on, but it's not a super dark one. But the main character is like super possessive, but like sweet. I feel like he's like a mixture of Gabriel and Lucian, basically. And I love the girl in that. I think her name might be Dahlia too.
Oh.
I can't remember, but yeah, I love that book. It's a standalone too, and I think that Layla Frost is such a good author.
I love Layla Frost books. I have not read that one.
Read something together, Brie. Like from her, doesn't she have like an age gap?
Yes, it's like Dove something, Little Dove or something. Like
Little
that.
Dove and Hide and Seek. They're both.
Hide and Seek. Yes, I was like, I know that name. Oh my goodness, I love that one.
Yes, but
one of my favorites.
With Us is like a really good starter mafia because it's not super dark. It just kind of like brings you in, and then you go darker and darker and darker. So
I'm all about the build-up. I'm here for all of it. I wrote all of this down. My TBR is just growing. Like, I'm going to be 90 by the time I'm done with all of this. And be like, Heather, what are you doing? I'm on my deathbed, but I got to finish my TBR.
I'm going to die with it unfinished, but okay.
Yeah.
God, way to be negative.
Like, be next to it because that's what's going to happen. You're not going to get, like, through it.
Goodness.
So, I'm not sure if you said Ruining Dahlia is, but what is your favorite book that you've written so far?
I think Ruining Dahlia is my favorite. Heartbreak Prince, like I almost tear up when I think about it because the ending, it's just like, it lives in my head rent-free constantly. I just released the audiobook for that second one.
Done.
There we go.
It's just so much. I will warn you, there's a different narrator for the first one, for Heartbreak Prince, and it's not like the second one. The second one I've used for my Sound of Us, like my Rockstar series, and oh my gosh, that narrator is incredible. So speed up the volume.
Okay.
We already do that.
Oh yeah.
Prince,
Bree,
but you can
over here.
For Heartbreak Lover, just listen to her because she's incredible. But oh man, the ending, like, I cry, guys. I cry when I read it. Aww. And I wrote it. It's like, what's wrong with me? So
I am here for all of that.
You got me at the crying part because out of the three of us, I'm the crier. So that's right up my alley.
So Breathe Me and Breathe You, my duet with Ivy Fox, is super emotional. Like, oh my goodness.
It takes the big ones to catch me off. Like, I cried during Bright Side, and then 1,000 Boy Kisses. Those are like and Marley and Me, but that's, not really in the romance world. But those are the three that, like, got me. Brie over here, a cold-hearted woman over here, doesn't cry for anything.
I get angry.
Cry when you read the end of Heartbreak Lover, and you have to be.
I'm telling you, something's wrong with her. She does not cry.
She has no tear ducts, like, in her eyeballs. Like, it just doesn't.
I wasn't born with them.
She's cold-hearted.
They're just there for decoration.
Before you get to the end, you have to listen to "Sad, Beautiful, Tragic" by Taylor Swift. Okay. Because
got it.
That was like in my head, nonstop. I mean, you'll even see like some of Taylor's lyrics in there, because it just really, yeah. Oh,
I'm excited, and it's an audio. So, do you have a favorite character that you've written so far?
That's so hard, Eva
Why choose?
Was my first heroine. However you say that. Sound like the same drugs. And I don't know, like, I love her because she was my first, you know, but I really, I love Dahlia. And then Aurora in my Make Me Lie book, which is probably, it's up there in my top 3 as well. She is like such a badass. Like,
Yes.
she's so much cooler than me, and yeah, so I really like her. But I do, you'll see with my girls, like maybe they start off more like timid and like at first, right? You'll especially see that in Faded Wings, right? Because that's my first book. But even if you look at Dahlia, 4 or 5 years later, they start off and there's like, I love the progression into like who they become, right? You know, I mean, I do love books where, you know, they start off like total awesome superheroes, like in the Gentleman series with Kate and Jenna. Like, that girl is like awesome, right?
Badass.
Yes, but with all mine, it's like a progression. I want this growth to become like who they are as like time passes, right? So
I like the progression and I like the growth, and I think that's one of the things that draws me to certain heroines in certain books, and then even authors that write that way. Like, it's cool to start off with the heroine that, you know, can shoot better or, you know, is just badass from the get-go. But to have that normal, everyday girl grow into a world that, you know, forces her to be badass or just have a backbone, stand up for herself, and know that she comes first in certain things. Like, that's something that I feel like just women in general, and like something to look up to or like strive for. Like, you don't have to be weak and meek, you know, throughout your life. You can be badass and stand your ground and be a tough woman.
it's like the journey,
you know,
from
it's
Princessa to the Queen.
Yes. It's good to, you know, want a man, not need one.
Yes. Exactly.
I really like that about Dahlia because I feel like she wasn't necessarily weak. She had her vulnerabilities and she did have her moments, but I feel like at the same time, that was for a reason, and she already had such like a hardened core about her, and I feel like she was more so learning how to love and how to accept those feelings, and she was still very strong in her own way, and like learning to feel and to love also shows so much strength of her as a character.
Yeah. That line where he's like telling Gabriel, she's like, don't say it, you know, not when I still like smell like him, and she's like, tell me when it will save me, and I was like,
I loved that line.
Like,
I loved that line.
You are just coming into your own.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
And I liked when he actually got to say it. Like, when you got to the point where he could express himself and she was ready for it. Like, you saw the difference of who she was.
Because I needed her to trust him, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't even just about, like, her wanting it to come at the right moment. It's like, I have to trust that this is real and not in my head, right? So,
yeah.
So
what's your favorite trope to read?
Well, reverse harem, definitely.
Yes.
And probably contemporary. I think I spend most of my time... I love a good wolf shifter book. And Omegaverse, like, I just finished Pack Darling, and I love that duet, as does everyone, I think. But probably contemporary is where I like to spend my time reading most of the time.
I am all about the why choose life.
Yes.
It's not real life, but it's in my head life. So
it's so nice to live in that world.
One of the lowest reviews on Amazon is like someone who hates RH, and they must have found me through TikTok. So they were like, I hate RH, and I didn't realize this was one until halfway through, and it's disgusting. And so it was like a 1 star because she hates RH. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure it was obvious, but
isn't it in the blurb?
And yeah. Anytime you see multiple men in a blurb, that's usually what it means. But.
Yeah. And how do you hate
readers who don't read out there?
For the yes, amen. Preach it. Say it louder for the people in the back.
Just like lure her in. So
sometimes I feel like people don't read the same books that we read. I'm like, where are you getting your thoughts from?
Yeah.
And why? Like, that wasn't hot to you? It's not supposed to be real life. It's fiction. That's why we read, to live somebody else's life for a little bit.
There was another
My God.
that was talking about trigger
the
warnings.
RH and the blurb for me, though.
And I, like, put a whole page dedicated to trigger warnings, right? And, like, the whole review was like, I did not get warning of all these triggers. Clearly have not read, like, you know, my dedication says, Grandma, don't read any further. And then I have, like, a whole page that's like, this is dark, this is, like, gonna be clear. Do not enter, like, unless you're ready. So I thought that was funny, too.
It's the readers that don't read.
I love the dedication. That was so funny, because I was like, I would definitely not want my grandma to read this.
It comes from a real place, though, okay? My grandma, like, my Faded Wing starts off, like, not as spicy, right? So my grandma read maybe, like, the first one, and then the second one, the spice really comes in, right? And we're so close, and she is so disappointed. She wants me to write, like, a book about a law firm, like The Firm, you know? Like, she loves, like, John Grisham and stuff.
Oh, goodness.
She puts those, like, in all the time. So this one, I, like, knew she might see it somewhere on Facebook. I don't even know if she's friends with the C.R. Jane profile, but I'm like, never! I can't imagine.
It's organized crime.
Yeah, it's just not the kind of plot that she's looking for.
Yeah.
My mom reads romance, and there are some books that, like, we will, like, cross over, where she's like, oh, I read that, and I'm like, nope. Like, I can't look at you like that. Like, I'm the second coming of Christ. Like, I was an immaculate conception. No. Like, we're not even going there, Mom. I can't. Just you don't get to do that. Sorry.
I love that.
Yeah, that's the truth. I'm 37 years old, and if she walked in now, I'm like, nope, you are the Virgin Mary. I don't know what happened.
That's funny. Oh my God.
Alright, what is your favorite trope to write?
Mila's probably going to kill me for this, but contemporary. Like, I love contemporary. I don't know, I mean, I like getting into the whole, like, vampires and werewolves and all that stuff, but I feel like I can do the most emotion in my contemporary books, and have, like, the most, like, effed up stuff happen to the characters in those. So yeah, that's definitely my favorite to write.
So yeah, I can get down with that. Brie can't. She doesn't have emotions.
I can appreciate the book.
You gotta make that trip to the wizard for you, Brie.
Happily ever afters. And so, like, I love the heartbreak before the happily ever after.
See, sometimes I gotta be in the mood for the heartbreak of my emotions. I read a book recently, and I legit ugly cried. And I had to find my husband to have him give me a hug. And he thought something was wrong. Like, he dropped everything he was doing. He hugged me, and he was like, what happened? And I was like, the book? And he was like, you've got to be kidding me. And I was like, just hold me. Like, I'm okay.
I understand. Like, it happened to me once reading D. Kelly's Illusion series. And, like, me and my mom were in the car. And I literally just, like you said, ugly face cried. And she looked over and she was like, what? Because I'm on my phone. She was like, what? What happened? I'm like,
did someone die?
This is the saddest book I've ever read. Like, and she was like, what?
Have you guys read Ghosted by Jay, like, Dahor? I don't know how you pronounce the last name. Oh my gosh. It's a secondhand Hollywood one. I have never cried so hard. Like, I was sobbing. Oh.
I wrote it down.
I'm sorry, what book is this?
It's
Ghosted.
Ghosted. There's a couple of books named Ghosted, but this one's like a Hollywood one.
I wrote it down. It's going to happen. I will let you know.
Yes, let me
How
know if you're affected like I was.
How the tears come.
Mm-hmm. That one could break you, Brianna. It could.
Oh.
I'm really waiting for the book to break her, because she didn't break at the book me and Heather thought she was going to break it.
Oh.
Like,
I didn't think she was going to talk to me.
I was worried about her not talking to us, being so upset, and then she was just like, she's fine. And I'm like, you're fine? What? Like, I'm more mad at her than she is at me because she's okay. Like
you need to
she threatened our
guys too.
She threatened our lives, and she's like, "I'm not going to talk to you." And then all of a sudden, she's like, "It's okay."
It was Exodus by Kate Stewart, the Ravenhood
I was about to guess
trilogy.
that was it.
It was that one.
I don't know. I saw it coming. I was getting angry though as like the book progressed, and I'm like, guys, I'm not sad. I am stabby.
Mind you, that's my favorite series in the entire world. I have a tattoo dedicated to that like entire series. So like, she's like, "I'm mad," and I'm like, "I'm sorry." Then, oops.
Okay.
All right. Do you have a spicy recommendation?
Oh gosh, I was trying to think about this. I think probably the spiciest series that I have read recently is Emerald. What's it called? I can't remember what it's called. It's like Emerald City or something like that. Let me see if I can find it on Kindle. It is.
I'm like ready to write it down.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, let me. Emerald Lake series, Britt Andrews. It's really spicy. So,
I have that book on my TBR.
So
you have all the books.
Right.
I'm not.
She
really
probably owns it too. It's somewhere on that shelf. I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm not really like into like MM that much because I get so jealous for the girl, right? I'm like, because I always feel like the guys end up liking each other more than the girl in most cases, and that drives me crazy. In that one, I mean, they definitely have such relationships, but it is spicy. So if you want spice, read that series.
5 peppers going in it. Got it.
I have it written down. I'm ready. So, that's your spicy recommendation. So it's probably the spiciest book you've read too, right?
I've read so many books. I'm trying to think. That's just the one most recently. I mean, obviously, Den of Vipers is really spicy.
Oh,
I've heard things about that one.
Den of Vipers. There's spice, and then there's your grandmother would walk away from you for the rest of your life. That's that book.
That one
No?
is spicy. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I probably read ones of equal spice somewhere, but that's what I've read. What I've read most recently, that was like, woo, Babylon Friar.
Yeah.
I like how you've mentioned the spiciest, and they're all reverse harem.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm doing like separate relationships in all mine.
It's okay, because the RH
having like
speaks to us.
foursomes with like, but that's okay.
Yeah, but like that's what's different and unique though, because there are many different, development wise and the book specifically, the tropes. But I really like that they each had their own specific relationship with her.
Yeah.
And they each brought her something. They gave her something that she needed that the others couldn't do.
Yeah.
So it definitely, it helped her as a person and a character, but it focused on what they brought to the table for her that I absolutely loved and appreciated.
And I honestly try to make that my theme, I think, a lot because I know what the ending of Faded Wings is going to be. I keep referencing that just because I've been writing it for 4 or 5 years, but the ending has that theme. Like that's like the most important like thought process for the last book, and what happens is that like they each give something like different.
Mm-hmm. So is that what you're currently working on now? Those last 2 books?
No. I'll probably get to those the month before. I wrote Ruining Dahlia in 3 weeks. I got super sick in December. I got COVID, pneumonia, mono, and tonsillitis within a 2-week period, guys. So I was intending to write Dahlia from like December, until release date, February 4th, and I couldn't do anything. Like I was on my couch, didn't leave the house. So I like busted it out like 12K days. But right now I'm almost done. I have like 2 more days for Make Me Beg, which like it's such a fun series. That's my co-write with Mae Dawson.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like dark serial killer, college, enemies to lovers, like secret
Oh my
society.
All right.
Really spicy. Like May sent me a message like yesterday. It was like, is this too much? I was like, no, just bring it.
I don't think like the limit exists.
Not at all. I'm still stuck on the fact that she wrote a 500-page book in 3 weeks, and I'm pretty sure that in college it took me 3 weeks to write a 10-page paper. I'm just gonna put that out there. Like, he's like up here, and I'm just like, oh wait, honey, what's the grocery list?
My
Like,
sister was a godsend because she took it in chunks, so it like all and the beta team's reading, so I've got the editor like doing chunks. So at the end, it's like the day before. And I've got the edited copy, and I've got the beta, and it's like, okay, let's. I think I stayed up till like 4 a.m. The night before, like inputting stuff because I had to read. This book was so special to me. Like I literally just went over every single word. Somehow missed like a radish and a beet thing in the arc one, but that's okay.
it was good, and I like I said, I didn't think it was 500 pages, but to bang out talent like that, and then me, like, I take like 4 days to make the grocery list. Like, did we get to this part?
I don't even do a grocery list, so that's why I'm always forgetting something. So,
Well, so no 500-page books for you.
You actually make a list.
I have to. I got 3 kids. Someone's gonna forget something.
So, what's your favorite thing to do when you're not writing?
Read.
Yes.
Like,
Done.
I have
Done.
no time. So I'm the person like reading. I read at stoplights. Like I read when I'm going to the bathroom. Like any like.
Do you listen to audiobooks? Do you listen to audiobooks?
Not really. I've never. I do like the self-help ones on audio. Like the nonfiction ones. I'll listen to those. But I've never. I should do it because I have a really long commute to work. But no, I just read like right before bed and just any spare second. But I also love to travel, and I love football. We have season tickets to the Raiders, even though I'm a Cowboys fan and a Tom Brady fan.
Yes. Hey, Cowboys! I love them.
Like, I love Tom Brady. Like, it's ridiculous. But anyway, we just love NFL football. I mean, I'm from Texas, that's like the big thing. And so I grew up like that.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. But yeah, traveling.
I have a cousin.
What'd you say?
Who's literally going to I have a cousin who's going to retire in Dallas because that's how much he loves the Cowboys. Like, he has, like, season passes. He goes to all the games. Like, that's literally where he's retiring from,
Most people retire to Florida, but I mean, everything's bigger in Texas, so,
and
okay.
Texas is hot most of the time, too, so.
Truth.
I'll take that.
I'm over the snow. Awesome. I don't ever want to see snow again.
I know, it's like a blizzard outside right now, and I'm like, I've been in Utah for 10 years now, I think, and I still, like, don't drive if there's snow outside. I'm, like, not gonna do it.
Me and Bree, we're on the Upper East Coast, and the other day, I opened my front door to let the dogs out, and I was just like, did anybody else know it was gonna snow? Like, there's snow on the ground. Like, this is one of those surprises that you don't like.
It was like 50 degrees the day before, so I'm like, wow, it is so nice out. Like, just like long sleeve weather. And then I wake up and I'm like, how the hell did it snow?
I was unprepared. I misunderstood the assignment because I did not know what was going on.
I don't have those issues because I'm in the South.
Well,
we don't do that here in Georgia.
Yeah.
We get dandruff. We get a little dandruff and then we go about our day.
I wish. So, did you always want to be an author?
It kind of just happened, I guess. I've always liked writing. I've always liked reading. I'm like an extreme speed reader, so like extreme. So I just read. I could read so fast growing up, and I won some competitions, in school, and then I didn't really think about it because I had my career path like totally lined out. And then I got into reverse harem. This was, like when Rebecca Royce, there weren't that many. Like she was out. I can't even think of the other people. Maybe G. Bailey was out by then. Anyway, I loved the idea, and I was like, maybe I'll just write a book. Like, maybe I'll just do it. And so
Yes.
I released it, and I didn't tell anyone in my family or anything. Like, I didn't want it to be, like, influenced or them to know about it. And it just, when it took off, it, like, honestly was life-changing, guys. Like, sorry, I'm gonna cry.
Aww.
It's just, like, brought me so many, like, friendships, and, like, writing is so important to me, and just being able to put my words on the paper and have people, like, read them, you know, like Ruining Dahlia has done so well, and just seeing people's reviews and, like, their messages to me, like, it's so life-changing to have that. My day job is really intense, and it has a lot, like, there's not a lot of females in it, and it's hard. And so to have this thing that can, like, give me confidence because it's done so well, I really, like, it's life-changing. Like, I love it so much.
Well, we appreciate you, and we appreciate your writing. I mean, that's what reading does. It lets people get away from, you know, real life for a little bit. So for people like you that can create these worlds where we can escape to, we wouldn't be anywhere without you guys. So we
Also,
appreciate.
like you said, the amazing friendships that reading has brought you. Like, that's how I feel. Like, that the reading aspect of it has brought me, like, friendships that's went way above and beyond, like, the books, you know. And I talk about how amazing this community is all of the time. Just like with my family, and I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta go. You know, I'm talking to my girls. Like, it, it's like a second, like, it's an extension of family. Like, I never knew a community like this really existed. Like, just from my love of reading, I didn't know I could find something like this. So, like, everything you said, I feel from, like, the reader aspect of it, you know?
Yeah.
100%.
Like, my PA is one of my best friends, Caitlin. And when I was, you know, when I say I was sick, guys, like, I was literally, like, maybe could have died. And she, like, sent me, like this huge box of, like, Young Living vitamins. Like, I don't even know, like, how much it was. It was like she just sent it, like. And then Raven and Ivy sent me, like, literally a big box of, like, chicken noodle soup and, like, rolls and all this stuff. And people were checking, you know, in with me constantly, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how am I lucky enough to find women like this, you know? Like, incredible.
That's amazing.
It's
these two here are, I could say the same thing. I recently lost my dog, like, in December, to cancer, and they surprised me and sent me, like, this blanket that is literally, like, her on the blanket, and, like, I sleep with it, like, I cuddle with it at night. I don't think I told y'all that, but now y'all know I cuddle with it at night. And also them and another group of friends that we have, like, when my niece was really sick, like, she was in the hospital, she had to get, like, double blood transfusions, like, they got together and sent her this big elaborate, like, edible arrangements with a teddy bear that she still has, like.
Oh, does she really?
Yes, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, these friendships, like, they go above and beyond the books. Like, from the UK, like they said, Jersey, Cali, Colorado, Florida, like, they come together. You know, we come together for each other regardless of where we're at. Like, and it's really an amazing feeling.
I totally agree with all of that. I feel like you said, like, we all know, we've all been reading for so long, but to be able to come together as a book community and specifically talk and bond about those books and open up, and literally, I could probably message anyone on social media and be like, oh my gosh, you read that book? And I can have an in-depth conversation with them. When in real life, if I just pass somebody that had the same shirt as me, I'm not going to talk to them. You know? But it's just,
they might not talk to you either.
This is true, because then I'd be a weirdo, but, you know.
Oh my god.
But I love it. I love the book community. I love that we can form friendships with authors. I love that we can chat with them.
Exactly.
Especially independently published authors. I think that you guys do so much work and you go above and beyond, and to be able to even just chat with you or tag you and just see how much you love our feed and all of that, like, I just feel so appreciated, and I feel like it's easily transferable.
Absolutely. Well, that was all that we had, and we want to thank you so much for chatting with us. This has honestly been such a great, like, almost hour now just talking with you, but really understanding a lot of the author aspects of writing. Like, this was such a great conversation, and I'm so happy to have done it with you.
I know, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Great. And I will be reading all of the books that you suggested and all of your backlog. It's going down. It's happening.
You gotta read Heartbreak Prince next.
That's the fall. I'm gonna listen to it too. It's gonna, get through it. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Bye.